Long before maps were drawn or songs were sung, there were places where the world itself still whispered of the First Age. Places the years forgot, yet the stones did not. Beneath one such hill, hidden under root and moss, lies a door no living hand has opened in an age. What if you found it? What if the past itself waited for you beyond that threshold? They called it the Lost Passage, yet no map marked it, and no lore master spoke its name. It lay where few dared wander, in the mists of the north, where the bones of the world showed through the earth, and the echoes of the First Age still lingered like dreams that would not fade. Before we continue further, if you could take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, it would mean the world and help us share more tales of Arda. Now, let's return to the story. The stories say that once, in the age of Morgoth's dominion, a hidden way was carved beneath the hills, a road that led from the western vales into Beleriand itself, deep below the ruin left by the wars of gods and elves. When the seas rose and drowned that ancient realm, the way was sealed, its entrance swallowed by time and ivy. Yet tonight, the stars seem older. The wind smells of salt and starlight, and you, the wanderer, stand before a mound that hums faintly, as if the world remembers what lies beneath. What secrets lie beyond this forgotten passage? Whose hands shaped the stones that now crumble in shadow? There is no record of this place in Elrond's books, nor in the fading memories of the Eldar who yet remain in Middle-earth. But those who still dream of the West, they speak of a threshold where memory and myth are one, and where the light of the First Age yet flickers in the dark. You kneel beside the ancient hill, tracing the moss that veils the stone like green velvet. Beneath your fingers, faint lines emerge, circles within circles, the mark of the Noldor in exile. The pattern stirs a whisper in the mind, an echo of a tongue long forgotten. Eldamar, Aman, Valinor, words of longing and loss. The air grows still, the night deepens, and the silence of the earth feels almost alive. You rise slowly. The stars gleam cold above, bright as tears. Around you, the forest sighs, the rustle of leaves like breath, the creak of branches like the groan of old timbers. Somewhere, far off, water flows, steady, ancient, patient. And there, half buried at your feet, a shape resolves beneath the moss, the outline of a door. Stone set within stone, bound by age and root. Its surface glimmers faintly as you brush it clean, a shimmer like moonlight caught in still water. Runes bloom across its face, pale and cold. They speak of hidden realms, of oaths sworn beneath starlight, of the long defeat and the hope that endures beyond it. You do not yet understand the words, but you feel their weight, the ache of memory pressed into stone, the echo of songs sung beneath unbroken skies. For the first time, you sense it. This is not merely a relic. This is a threshold, a boundary between the world you know and the one that was. And as the night deepens and the stars wheel above the hill like silent witnesses, the door seems to breathe, faintly, almost imperceptibly, as if waiting for a hand that remembers the first light. The wind stirs once more, bringing the scent of rain and the far-off sea. And in that sound, you hear it, a whisper from beyond the veil of time. The road is not lost, it sleeps. You step closer, and the light of your lantern trembles upon the runes. The passage calls, patient, ancient, and alive. And though you cannot yet see what lies within, you know the journey has already begun. Beyond the moss, beneath the hill, the stones remember. Dawn came softly, veiled in mist. The air was thick with dew, each blade of grass glimmering like silver beneath the pale morning light. You stood upon the hill that the old tales called Emonduath, though no map now bore that name. Beneath your boots, the earth was ancient, older than the kingdoms of men, older than the towers of the elves that once shone across Beleriand. The hill rose like the back of a sleeping beast, its flanks covered in ferns and the tangled roots of elder trees. Moss crept over stones that might once have been walls, now softened and reclaimed by the slow patience of time. The air smelled of rain and earth, a scent that seemed to carry memory, as though the soil itself dreamed of the ages it had buried. You felt it before you saw it, a quiet pulse, almost a heartbeat, deep within the ground. It hummed through the soles of your feet, steady and low, like the echo of a distant forge. Somewhere far below, something endured, light in darkness, memory unbroken. The forest was still. Even the birds held their song, as though waiting for you to act. You moved slowly among the roots, each step deliberate. A stream trickled nearby, its sound like soft laughter fading through the mist. You crouched beside it, letting the cold water pass over your hand, and saw fragments of white marble scattered in its bed, carved once by careful hands, shaped with a grace long forgotten. It struck you then that this hill had not always been so wild. Once there had been a road here, perhaps a path leading to the western shores of the Great Sea before the world was broken. Perhaps travelers from Nargothrond or Doriath had passed beneath these boughs, their lanterns glinting through the fog, their songs echoing faintly beneath starlit skies. Now only echoes remained. You sat upon a fallen stone, or perhaps a fragment of a pillar, and looked upon the hill again. A strange light seemed to move within the mist, soft and golden, as if the dawn itself hesitated before touching this place. It was not the light of day, nor fire, nor moon. It felt older, purer, a glimmer of the light that once flowed from the trees of Valinor, carried across the sea by those who had seen them in their glory. Your breath caught. Could it be that some remnant of that light was still imprisoned here, sleeping beneath the moss and soil? You rose again and climbed toward the crown of the hill. Each step was slower, heavier, as if the air thickened with remembrance. The trees grew close together, their trunks knotted with age. Their roots wound around shards of stone, gripping them like fingers unwilling to let go. At the summit, the ground leveled into a small clearing. There it was, the door. Fully revealed now beneath your labor of the night before, it gleamed faintly with a luster that defied the ruin of ages. It was carved from a single slab of gray stone, veined with silver lines that pulsed faintly when touched by the morning light. Around its edges, symbols wound like living vines, stars, crescents, leaves, and circles, the marks of the Eldar. You knelt once more, tracing your fingers across the carvings. Each curve felt deliberate, sacred. The artistry was unlike that of men, more fluid, more alive. The inscriptions flowed together like poetry, not words of command, but of remembrance. You murmured softly, The light endures beneath the shadow. The phrase came unbidden, rising from memory, or perhaps from the stone itself. It was as if some part of you, or of the world, remembered the meaning. The wind stirred again. The mists began to part, revealing the lands beyond the hill, the wide green fields of the north, dotted with cairns and silent stones. Once, these lands had been the northern marches of Beleriand, before the world was bent and the seas devoured the west. You tried to imagine the kingdoms that once lay beyond the horizon. Gondolin gleaming in its hidden vale, Doriath with its enchanted woods, Nargothrond's echoing halls of gold. All gone. And yet, perhaps not wholly lost. For here, upon this forgotten hill, a passage remained. You stood again before the door, heart pounding softly in your chest. The mist swirled low around your ankles. You could almost hear it, faint music, delicate as wind through glass, seeping from beyond the stone. The elves called it Lorelein's memory, that hidden echo of light that lingers wherever they once dwelled. Few now could sense it, for it fades in mortal ears. But tonight, in this quiet hollow of the world, you felt it clear as your own breath. The passage waited. The hill watched, and the ancient light within seemed to tremble, like the first note of a song long forgotten, yearning to be sung again. The morning mist clung to the hill like breath upon glass. You stood before the stone once more, your lantern faint against the pale light. The door loomed taller than you remembered, ancient, solemn, unmoved by wind or time. Its surface shimmered with faint silver veins that pulsed softly, as though a heartbeat lingered deep within. You brushed the moss aside, fingers tracing the runes. They felt warm, impossibly so, like sunlit stone. Words formed in your mind, though you had never learned them. Memory unbroken, light beneath the shadow. The meaning sank through you like a song half heard in dream. You pressed your palm flat against the center. The air around you stilled. For an instant, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, a sound, deep and distant, like a sigh from the roots of the earth. Dust fell in thin streams as a narrow line of light appeared between the stones. The runes flared, white fire threading through each curve and mark, spreading outward in living veins of light. You stepped back, heart quickening. The ground trembled faintly. The door was not being forced open, it was awakening. From beyond came the scent of old air, cool and sharp, tinged with salt, and something sweeter, like the breath of distant forests now long drowned. You felt it then, a pull, deep and certain, the kind that stirs when the past calls the living by name. A whisper brushed your ear, faint as memory. Come, the first light still burns. You follow the tunnel deeper until the air turns cool and the hum of stone fades to silence. The light of your lantern brushes walls veined with pale gold, roots of the world that once drank the sun of Valinor. A stairway winds downward, worn by forgotten feet. At its end lies another chamber, smaller, filled with the scent of dust and memory. Tables of white marble stand cracked. Books have turned to shadow and air. Yet amid the ruin, one thing endures: an engraving of a swan ship sailing west, its sail etched with starlight. You touch the carving. In a heartbeat, the sea surges around you, not real, but memory. You hear laughter, see torches on distant shores, the cries of those who fled the burning of the trees. It fades as quickly as it came, leaving only echo. This was once a refuge of the Noldor, a sanctuary built when hope was thin. Here they kept records of what was lost, singing by starlight while the wars raged above. Every stone hums with that longing still, the desire to preserve beauty against the ruin of time. You kneel, whispering to the empty hall. Your song remains. And for a moment, the dust stirs, as if something hears and remembers. The air grows warmer as you descend one last corridor. The stone beneath your fingers feels smoother, almost alive, shaped not for defense, but remembrance. At its end stands a single arch, carved with words that glow faintly in silver. When all is drowned, memory shall be the bridge. You understand then, this passage was no mere refuge. It was a vessel for remembrance, a thread between ages. When Beleriand fell, its keepers bound their memories into stone, hoping one day a traveler would find them and remember what the world once was. In the stillness, you see it clearly. Galadriel's exile, the sorrow of Fingolfin, the fall of Gondolin, all born from light that refused to yield to darkness. This hidden way is their echo, preserved so that Middle-earth might never forget its beginnings. You close your eyes. For a heartbeat, it feels as though the light of the two trees brushes your face, warm, forgiving, eternal. Then it fades, leaving only the faint gleam of your lantern. The passage has given you its truth. Memory is the last form of immortality. You retrace your steps, lantern low, the air still whispering faintly with song. The runes along the walls no longer glow, yet their warmth lingers, a quiet promise beneath the chill. When at last you reach the stone door, it opens as gently as sleep. Night has fallen over the hill. The stars hang heavy above, bright and near, like watching eyes. You breathe deeply, the scent of earth, moss, rain. The world feels both vast and fragile, as if all its ages are folded into this one moment. You look back once. The doorway fades into shadow, hidden once more beneath ivy and silence. No trace of your journey remains, save for what you now remember and what you will carry forward. The First Age is gone. Its kings are dust, its songs only echoes. Yet its light endures, in memory, in story, in the hearts of those who still seek what was lost. You whisper softly to the night. Not all roads vanish, some only sleep. The wind stirs in answer, brushing the grass like the turning of a page. The tale is ended, yet every ending is a door. Beyond it lie other paths, other memories waiting to be found.